Okay, because of new guidelines going in, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do this. Basically, 3i Atlas is now approaching Earth, and they're deploying troops throughout the entire United States. Look, we are being prepped for a huge event. All I know is that we got to get the right information. Comment below.
Worrying words indeed seem to be coming out of the extreme birdwatching society, and here's why. Well, the 3i Atlas is a pretty big rock that's come from outside our solar system. It's whizzing past the sun this week. Everybody knows it's a rock, but just for fun, just to rule out that it might be some kind of extraterrestrial craft, we're going to observe it flying past the sun this week. So basically, when it flies past the sun, if it behaves in a way that indicates it's got some kind of propulsion system, we can pretty much be sure that it's aliens, although nobody expects that to happen.
This week, the asteroid or comet will be whizzing around our sun. And if it picks up extra energy on its flyby, that would clinch it. That means there's extraterrestrial intelligence involved.
But this is 2025. It's a time where people who make TikTok videos can walk into a revolving door and die of exhaustion before they manage to find the way out. It's no surprise to me that many of them are confused and concerned about this interstellar visitor.
Those who are tuned to its signal are coming home.
Now, we'll return to that lady later on in the video, as I'm sure you can tell by that little cameo, her contribution to this topic will be highly valued by the scientific community. But before we can get to her, we need to ask ourselves the big question. What does Jesus say about 3i Atlas?
Today is October 17th, and I have another message from the aliens.
Now, anybody here who is very religious or of a nervous or sensitive disposition, this next bit might be tough to watch. She channels Jesus himself, and it's one of the most beautiful, touching, emotional things I have ever seen in my entire life. It changed me as a person, and I only want to say this so you can brace yourself before you watch.
Yeshua, who you might know as Jesus, wants us to believe in aliens. He is among the ones that asked them to come help us. Here's a clip from the live where Yeshua himself is sharing about aliens. Jesus himself is saying, I'm only part of the story. Don't stop with me. I am just one chapter in a much bigger story. And every chapter can bring you closer to source. Yes. So there you go.
So there we go indeed. I mean, how touching and inspirational was that? It was just like he was in the room with me. I was expecting that any moment now she'd jump up and start doing some carpentry, maybe knock me a commode together or something like that. It was incredible. So obviously that is proof. She has channeled, I'll leave that in. She has channeled Jesus, and here's what he has to say about the 3i Atlas.
It's going to act as a counterbalance as the motherships come in close to Earth. 3i Atlas is working to raise our frequency individually and as a collective. It's working with the sun somehow to transmit codes to us. I don't know, that's beyond my human understanding. But the point is, there is nothing to be afraid of regarding 3i Atlas or aliens in general.
Well, that is good to know, because when this lady says something, you know you can take it seriously. But not everybody's got the message. For example, this lady from before.
For a long time now, I've been under the impression that this 3i Atlas thing was just another distraction from real stuff happening on our Earth. I have since allowed myself to really tap into what this is. Feels to me like a body of information. Consciousness. Interdimensional, perhaps, consciousness.
Interdimensional consciousness that, of course, she seems to be able to channel.
The heart of the scorpion brings us the element of water, and the archer brings us the element of fire. Together, they form the alchemical symbol, the hexagram, temperance, water and fire.
Now, some of you will have watched that and you'll be thinking now, That is obvious bollocks. That doesn't mean anything whatsoever. That is just ridiculous, meaningless word salad. Some of you will be thinking that. And that's it, really. There's no second part to that sentence. Anyway, it obviously means something to her.
Those who are tuned to its signal are coming home.
I asked God, what is the 3-Eye Atlas? What is it here to do? What is the purpose? And God said it is a tuning fork.
Of course he did, because of all the things this 3-Eye Atlas could possibly be, a giant tuning fork is the answer.
The 3-Eye Atlas is here to help you identify with your higher self, the person that God created you to be, that is so much more than just a 9-to-5 job.
Now I know what you're thinking, she looks happy and she sounds so very incredibly intelligent. But there is a dark side to her message here, because if you don't do what this tuning fork is telling you to do, you might not be here to see what happens next.
You know, the people that cannot find an identity outside of their 9-to-5 job, they might not be able to stick around in the next season. So
anyway, if we really want to know what the 3-Eye Atlas is, why don't we just ask someone who's been there?
Have you heard about the 3-Eye Atlas interstellar object? It's a ship. It's full of Arcturians. It's full of blue humanoid beings, and I got to see around the ship. I went there and saw that it was both a space rock and a ship in parallel.
Now, last week I did say to you that for every single person who subscribed, I would tell a young child before Christmas that Santa is dead. That's all going really, really well. A lot of you subscribed. The only downside being I had to leave my nephew's birthday party early over the weekend. But you can't make an omelette without breaking some eggs, can you? So I'm still on with that. And if you feel like hitting that button, please do. But if not, let's just listen to this next guy.
There's so many different possibilities with 3-Eye Atlas that I almost think that it might be Jesus' ship.
Now, it could be, I suppose, it could be in the same way that my next door neighbour's dog could just be a watermelon with a face drawn on it. It could be, it's just not very likely. And what I like about this guy is he's very happy to dismiss some other obviously absurd options, like reptilians.
Not a reptilian Draco ship, not some sort of alien ship, not one of ours. I think it might be Jesus' ship. I think it's a possibility.
Yeah, it's not these obviously wrong suggestions over here which make me sound crazy. It's this obviously wrong answer over here that makes him sound crazy. But he does seem to think he can kind of prove it.
Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark wasn't a boat. Noah's Ark was a ship that took DNA of all of the different critters here on Earth and brought it all around and is coming back. It went all around the galaxy and is coming back. So that's my theory. It makes sense because there's no way in hell you're going to have a ship big enough to put every animal and every species in there. But if you took DNA from it, you could have a ship that has millions and billions of DNA in there, easily, in little vials.
Now, I've got many problems with this argument, as you might expect, but let's just pretend that Noah's Ark was real, and that the flood was real, and that the Ark actually was a spaceship that took genetic samples and not a ship on Earth that animals crawled onto. What that would mean is that the flood would have literally just killed everything on Earth. Done. And that ship that is 3-Eye Atlas coming back now, carrying our genetic library, will be flying back to a dead planet, which obviously it isn't because he's not dead. He's alive here to make the TikTok video, therefore debunking his own argument, and he just doesn't seem to be able to see it.
So maybe they're just coming back, and she's just going to say hi. What do you think? Put your comment in the comment section.
Well, I think it's the dumbest thing in the world, and I think your comment section will be littered with people telling you just how wrong you are.
Now, I had a lot of visions of this early on, of a craft coming, a large rescue type craft. They're not coming to save us, but they're coming to save the planet, to embed frequencies and work with our atmosphere as these changes go forward. And if the cargo and crew are who I think they are, then we've got plenty of work to do, and we're going to meet some really new, interesting entities and human types, if you will. And some of us may be privy to go up into this craft.
Okay, this sounds far more scientific and plausible. Let's take some notes.
The living waters are back in the skies. There's no doubt about it. Unless your area is still getting a bunch of crazy lines. And a lot of those lines are not chemtrails. A lot of those, the spinning lines may actually be the spheres in the triangle.
So, the living waters are back in the sky, and there are lines which aren't chemtrails. They are spinny lines which are spheres in triangles. It's making sense, isn't it?
Well, we're going to see more activity of the spheres and the triangles and the stars coming down lower. There's going to be more sightings of this. And the spheres are going to be attracted to those people with a DNA match. I've said this before.
So we're going to see some more of these spheres, and these spheres are going to be attracted to people who have a DNA match. A DNA match to what, you might ask? But I'll be honest, at this point, I think asking questions is completely fucking pointless.
And so if you are an Atlantean and you have a memory of Atlantis, start watching for the spheres and start beckoning your sphere. Because if you are part of a sphere interface, it's still inside your DNA.
Okay, there we have it. So if you happen to be an Atlantean and can remember being an Atlantean, then just start looking out for the spheres, which are actually the spinny lines inside the triangles in amongst the living waters. It all makes perfect sense. It's a great story.
And I'm going to stick to that story. I like that story.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a video I thought I would throw out in the middle of the week because I had a day off. I do always say, if you learn anything from my videos, you must have been a complete moron when the video started. There's absolutely nothing you should be taking from this. And if you've made it to the end, well done. I'm going to come back with something far more productive and better on Sunday. Bye-bye.